if you cast your mind back, we're also impatient. ETH only bottomed versus Bitcoin in summer of 2020. We're not even there yet. We're still in May. It really started outperforming September, October, and then 2021 was the banner year. So the first part, crypto spring, is always about Bitcoin outperformance plus the new shiny thing, kid on the block, which is Solana. The more people get bearish about it, the more they write it off, the more I get interested in it. I don't think it outperforms Solana, so it's not going to change my position because I'm pretty much all in Solana. But I do think that it probably does better than people imagine over the next 18 months.
Ethereum's recent surge of approximately 30% over the past week has been attributed to a significant regulatory shift by the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. This reversal pertains to the approval of spot Ethereum exchange-traded funds, following the SEC's earlier sanctioning of 11 spot Bitcoin ETFs in January. Initially, there was considerable anticipation for Ethereum-based ETFs. However, optimism waned as analysts noted the SEC's perceived reluctance to prioritize Ethereum applications akin to Bitcoin. Bloomberg ETF analysts James Surt and Eric Bellini's, previously bullish on Bitcoin ETF approval, notably slashed the odds for Ethereum ETFs from 70% to a mere 25%. This adjustment underscored concerns regarding the SEC's apparent lack of enthusiasm towards Ethereum applications compared to those of Bitcoin. Nevertheless, recent indications suggest a potential reversal in the SEC's stance. Eric Bellini's, in a Twitter update, revised the odds of spot Ethereum ETF approval to 75%, citing emerging positive signs from regulatory circles. Speculation abounds regarding the driving forces behind this regulatory shift, with focus directed towards influential entities like BlackRock and its CEO Larry Fink. Observers speculate that BlackRock's influence may have played a role in swaying the SEC's disposition towards Ethereum ETFs. Additionally, there's speculation that the SEC may adopt a compromise approach, potentially classifying only staked Ethereum as a security, thus facilitating ETF approval without contradicting prior regulatory positions. These developments reflect broader discussions within the cryptocurrency space, highlighting the evolving regulatory landscape and its implications for Ethereum and the wider market.
Stop. You don't have time. Don't miss out this 2025 bull run. Educate yourself first ahead of the crowd. We have created the ultimate step-by-step crypto cheat guide that will guide you this bull run. Unlock the secrets of crypto and make smarter investments today. Now by clicking on the link below to get your exclusive copy just under $10.
Imagine if we wind forward and before we know it, there's more financial assets going onto ETH because you don't get fired for using ETH, right? Let's say more financial assets, and they could be on a layer 2, but it still starts to accrue value because financial assets are rapid velocity and high volumes. That narrative can switch so fast because the meme coin narrative is just a bunch of us who live in crypto land as natives. But really the thing that will drive this space is new capital into the applications layer of what this technology does. All I do know is once you get to network adoption with some real applications, it tends to stick. You know, if you think of all of the other big layer ones that came out in the past, none of those go to all-time highs again because they never got the network activity really. So Solana's clearly proven product market fit. When we abstract away everything from the space, these are businesses that are commonly owned that sell block space. That's all they do. And Solana sells good block space for various use cases. ETH and Bitcoin the same. So does it become boomer or does it matter? I think we need to be careful not to impose how the space is today, which is generally still retail driven and narrative driven versus use case driven, which I think will develop over time, which is like who's actually building, if Disney are building their Web3 architecture on XYZ, it's going to make a difference. It's going to bring in millions more, tens of millions of wallets and tens of millions of dollars of new activity every day. We just don't know what that is yet, but it will shift around.
I think what I've learned from this cycle is to not get attached to the darlings of the previous cycle and think, oh, this is like the main thing. Probably like it's just going to be, I used to think it was like Bitcoin and ETH. Now it feels like it's Bitcoin and ETH and Solana. And probably next cycle is going to be something else.
Well, what I do to help me with this, to stop getting into that trap, is I just look at the cross rates of the charts, like on the weekly chart basis. And just if something is breaking out versus ETH or Bitcoin and it's got something going on, it's very interesting. And that tends to be persistent over a cycle. So I'm looking now at what is the next big trade, because the next big trade is the Solana of the previous cycle. And it's going to be whether it's Monad, whether it's SWI, whether it's Celestia or what. I have no fucking clue. But what I'm doing is, on my trading view, is putting all these charts versus Solana, because I ain't going to switch any money unless I can prove that it's going to outperform Solana. Like I look at the WIF Solana chart, and WIF outperforms Solana. So I don't mind a bit of that, but it's higher risk. So I just put one versus the other on everything.
Continuing the discussion on Ethereum ETFs, Fidelity has made a notable amendment to its S1 registration statement, as per the latest update from the block. This amendment addresses a key concern regarding how the SEC will handle staking. Reportedly, Fidelity has eliminated all references to staking in its amended statement, reversing its earlier decision to stake a portion of the fund's assets with a staking provider for rewards. While the SEC's stance on staking has remained consistent, some Ethereum investors remain hopeful that future amendments may permit funds to stake assets for increased returns. Further developments are expected in the next 2 days, as the SEC is set to either approve or reject Van Eck and ARK21's Ethereum ETF applications. Returning to Pal's video, he elaborates on the current state of the crypto market and discusses the likelihood of a global liquidity expansion by year's end.
Right? After every halving, we tend to have this transition that I call from crypto spring to start of crypto summer. We usually get this sideways chop, and it's kind of normal. But this market is hilarious because everyone loses their minds, and they're like, it's all over. It's the worst thing ever. Everyone gets chopped around, trading around in stupid shit they shouldn't be doing. And then just when everybody thinks it's never going to move again, it then explodes higher. So, I've been like you, just kind of wryly observing the psychology of this space. I mean, the psychology of this space is basically like an 11-year-old. And when you play through all of this and you ask people their deep-seated fears, everything's going to crash, or China's going to invade Taiwan, or the Chinese currency is going to devalue, or what's happening in Japan. When you play through all of these, the outcome for all of those is more liquidity. Every single one. The only time it's not more liquidity is when the Fed are tightening, as are the other central banks, and they're purposely withdrawing liquidity. Everything else leads to more cowbell. And I just keep that in the back of my mind when everybody starts freaking out. But if China invaded Taiwan tomorrow, it would be the largest injection of liquidity in all history. The other way to think through this, I wrote about it in GMI, which I flicked to you guys last week or early in the week, was that when you look at what happened to the commercial real estate, you look at Credit Suisse, you look at the yen, you look at the Chinese, there's one big story there, which is there's a shortage of dollars, and it just keeps moving around. And then you see Yellen going to China twice. There's a trade. She's the biggest bond salesman in the world. She's now bigger a bond salesman than Mike Milken ever was. So her job is to sell bonds. She needs to go to China and say, listen, guys, can you buy our bonds? And they're going to say, yeah, but to buy your bonds, we need some dollars because we've got debt deflation going on and all our property developers are in debt dollars. So somewhere within there, and they're using Japan as like the threat. Look what's happening to their currency. It's going to happen to you too. Japan actually needs dollars too. So I just think there's a dollar injection of liquidity that's coming to solve this, because if not, China doesn't buy US goods. It's that whole kind of circular world trade thing. Janet's rebuilt the TGA. Her job is now to spend it. Normally, after she's rebuilt it from tax season, there's like a $250 billion drawdown, right? That's whoopee, considering that Powell has reduced QT enormously from 65 billion to 25 billion. So Fed net liquidity goes up. The ECB are going to cut. They've made it really clear they're going to cut as fast as possible. And the Fed will cut at some point, or at least the markets will start pricing it. Then we've got the election. We've already seen Biden talking about just, yet again, giving out money. We've got the Chinese talking about buying $40 billion of housing inventory. It's like you can't ask for a better setup. You've got institutions who want to buy and liquidity coming into the system. And then you've got speculative fervor going on because of meme coins. It's like, that's a perfect supermassive black hole to suck everybody in. It's a bit of something for everyone.
Amid renewed optimism surrounding the potential approval of additional crypto-based spot ETFs by the SEC, paving the way for increased institutional investment in the cryptocurrency market, crypto prices are experiencing a surge. Notably, Ethereum has spearheaded this upward trajectory, registering a remarkable 21% climb within a span of just 24 hours. Currently valued at $3,783, Ether has reached its highest level since reaching $4,000 in March. Bitcoin has also witnessed notable gains, reaching multi-week highs. What are your views on the SEC's abrupt policy shift? Do you believe it's driven by political motives? If so, how do you anticipate this will influence the cryptocurrency market in the ensuing days and weeks? Share your insights and reflections in the comments section below. For more Daily Dose Crypto news, check out these 2 awesome videos on your screen. Click now and we will see you on the next video.